Hello, beautiful beings. This is a flip through and review of the Field Tarot by Hannah Elizabeth Fofana. I was introduced to this tarot deck because I recently backed the Kickstarter campaign for the Familiar Field Oracle deck that is basically animal-based oracle deck, but I understand it's supposed to be kind of like in the same world, and I was really drawn in by the artwork there, so I decided to order this tarot deck. So this is not an unboxing video. It was basically just me unwrapping the plastic from the box and the cards, and this is just a basic pull apart box. As you can see from the artwork on the box and the included guidebook, the colors are really soft colors. Not sure if you would just call it pastel, but there's a floral feel to it. So here I'm going to take a look at the guidebook. So it says, the Field Tarot is intended to act as an intuitive tool to help navigate through life, relationships, meditation, and our inner and outward journeys. It connects art and spirituality with the ancient tradition of tarot reading. The field refers to the sacred space where the tarot narrative takes place. The prominent horizon line used throughout many of the cards puts you, the reader, within this space, allowing you to connect to the traditional tarot journey to your own. Allowing you to connect the traditional tarot journey to your own. Okay. So this guidebook goes into some basic spreads, Celtic cross spread. This is an unusual spread here, the field spread. So there's what's behind you, what you want, what will guide you, what must be overcome, what will be the outcome. I haven't done this spread yet. I haven't actually used the tarot deck yet, but the configuration of the cards really wasn't intuitive for me, so I need to take a look at that a little bit more. And there are just brief basic definitions for each of the cards and some keywords. Instead of the Fool, you have beginnings. So what I will note is this beginnings, there's a nude individual here. That is not like the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I would say overall this deck is nice to look at visually, but you really do need the foundation of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck to get a deep understanding of what these cards represent. So with the beginnings, it is like the Fool here. With the nude individual, it's more of a focus on lack of inhibition, a sense of innocence. We're born into this world nude, so I'm thinking that's kind of the focus here, is just really there's nothing to yet taint this individual's mind or heart about the world. So next we have the Magician. And with the Magician, it really, this scene here doesn't indicate the similar ability to use all the elements in the different suits, like the pentacles, the wands, the sword and cups. Here it's just the back of an individual with some type of staff and their hand raised looking at the sun. I'm assuming that's what that is. And then we have the High Priestess here. Basically, the feeling that I get from this card is more about a sense of severity as opposed to like secrets or intuition. Maybe more beauty and grace aspect of the card. Here we have the Empress. Now the meaning of the Empress is similar to the traditional Rider-Waite definition. Here there's really not a visual to connect you with motherhood or nature or sexuality, creation, or any of those concepts. And the Empress and the Emperor, because they're somewhat similar in terms that they're animals. And the Emperor here looks like more of a wolf, in terms of how that indicates like masculinity, authority, power. Not really sure. Like I said, I do like how these look, but in terms of whether or not the images provide a certain relation to the traditional meanings, I'm not sensing it. But this deck is more for, using your intuition in the field, yes. So here's the Hierophant, more of a traditional card or traditional image. The Lovers here also nude, nothing to hide. Chariot, somewhat traditional. So the use of the flowers in the artwork, I definitely am not sensing a certain aspect of it. Perhaps that also is grace, growth. Here we have Fortune, Wheel of Fortune, the colorful wheel, Strength card. This Perspective card is supposed to be the Hangman, the Hanged One. The visual of it, I believe I would definitely need to see the Roman numerals at the bottom to recognize which card it is. Although looking at this card, there is a sense of, the visual aspects, looking at it from different perspectives. Death. Temperance. I think it's interesting that this Temperance, the individual on the Temperance card here is halfway dressed, because the Temperance card for the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, that individual is fully clothed, gowned. I don't know if gowned is a word, but wearing some type of robed. Here's the Devil card. I do like how this Devil card does not have a sense of darkness or trying to scare the individual, as the Devil is basically, the mental or emotional trap that we keep ourselves in, and it doesn't really necessarily look like a dungeon from, you know, our viewpoint. Most likely it's looks like everyday life. Tower, star, so this moon card has more of a sense of more intuition and hope rather than fear or anxiety connected to that. So if this card is to convey a sense of fear and anxiety and overcoming that, and you know, making your way on the path where there's not a lot of clarity, this card really, the image on this card doesn't really convey that sense to me. And the sun, I do like this judgment card here. It has a sense of peacefulness, and again, just gracefulness. And instead of the world, we have the universe. And again, not sure if you can see, but in the background there are images of flowers there. Here we are at the Wands, Ace of Wands, and these cards have at the bottom a keyword, so that you can choose to use that keyword if you want to use these more like an oracle, or it can just be one of the several keywords that you tap into. So for Ace of Wands, you have energy, Two of Wands, planning, Three of Wands, vision, Four of Wands, celebration, Five of Wands, competition. So I will also note that in this deck it seems to be more pippish in terms of the minor arcana. There's not a sense of, I would say, a real emotion to a lot of these cards other than the keywords. Six of Wands, success, Seven of Wands, valor, Eight of Wands, movement, Nine of Wands, resilience, Ten of Wands, burden. Let me go ahead and put these back into a somewhat nice order. Princess of Wands, exploration, and then there is the Prince of Wands, instigation. So here the princesses are like the pages, and the princes are like the knights. Queen of Wands, vibrancy. I think that's a great word for the Queen of Wands. King of Wands, leadership. Ace of Cups, love. Two of Cups, union. Again, the individuals are nude. I would like to know the idea behind the tattoos. They seem to show up in a couple of the cards. I believe the card, the beginnings card, and I believe they're also roses. So there's a certain meaning that is intended, or if it's just, hey, we're gonna have some mix it up and have people with tattoos. Either way, be interesting to know. And there's 3 of Cups, friendship. 4 of Cups, meditation. 5 of Cups, disappointment. 6 of Cups, innocence. And of course you have a little doe there. 7 of Cups, choices. 8 of Cups, retreat. 9 of Cups, fulfillment. 10 of Cups, harmony. Princess of Cups, dreams. Prince of Cups, introspection. Queen of Cups, intuition. King of Cups, control. So in terms of the King of Cups, I'm not sure if control is what I gather from the King of Cups generally. Definitely having a handle and control on emotions, but I think of the King of Cups as more being steady in their emotions, and steady in terms of providing support for others. And control just seems a little bit more like controlling, which I don't get from at least the upright King of Cups. Ace of Swords, clarity. 2 of Swords, decision. 3 of Swords, sorrow. 4 of Swords, rest. 5 of Swords, defeats. 6 of Swords, transition. 7 of Swords, deception. 8 of Swords, isolation. So isolation is also an interesting word. I sometimes don't think I can find a better word than isolation, but it's more of a restriction. Isolation could just be, like alone on, like almost like the hermit. But the 8 of Swords is more a sense of restriction and almost, what's the word I'm thinking of? Yeah, maybe isolation is a better word than nothing, but more of a sense of can't do what you want, and you don't even know what you want sometimes, other than to break free because you're restricted. I think there's definitely better words than that. There's, victim, self-victimization. There's lack of power, but those aren't one word snippets. 9 of Swords, fear. 10 of Swords, despair. Princess of Swords or Page of Swords, curiosity. Prince of Swords or Knight of Swords, determination. Queen of Swords, independence. King of Swords, authority. And here we are at the Pentacles or discs. Ace of discs, wealth. Two of discs, change. Three of discs, works. Four of discs, stability. Five of discs, destitution. I will also note that in the minor arcana of some of the other suits, there are individuals depicted. And I noticed in the suit of discs or pentacles, the only human figure depicted in terms of the ace through 10 are these hands and the 6 of discs for generosity. 7 of discs, perseverance. 8 of discs, dedication. 9 of discs, culmination. 10 of discs, establishment. Princess or page of discs, manifestation. Prince or knight of discs, reliability. Queen of discs, nurture. King of discs, power. So for the King of discs being power, I think I more look at the King of discs as the provider as opposed to power. Or, I mean, I can see both of them, but more so the provider. And so this is the deck of the Field Tarot. I'll go ahead and do the initial deck interview. So this is the initial deck interview of the Field Tarot. These cards are, you know, they're pretty stiff, sturdy, thin, kind of semi-glossy. And I think that once they're broken in, they will shuffle pretty well. So I'm gonna just break them in a little bit before I do the initial deck interview. I'll be asking the cards about the essence of this deck, its current strengths, current limitations, what it can teach, and the types of readings that it would prefer to do. So noticing that already, the shuffling is less clunky. So that's good. Okay. So overall, I do like the colors on this deck, even though there is, some of the imagery doesn't really resonate with me for the meaning of the cards. I do know what the basis of the meanings are, and for people who are a little bit afraid of getting tarot readings, or are afraid, it's all full of death and heartbreak, and they're just not really ready to confront the imagery, I would say this is a good way to kind of baby step it in. So, all right, I'm going to pull 5 cards. Let's get into it. We have the 5 of Swords, the 7 of Cups, the 9 of Discs, 3 of Wands, and the Lovers card. So the bottom of the deck, we have another 5 of Wands. So this is, it says competition on there, which is a sense of the energy that's influencing this reading or the lesson to be learned. So the essence of this deck, we have the Five of Swords, which says defeat. It's typically knowing when to walk away when there's no winning in a situation. There are no winners. It's not worth it. So that's interesting for the essence. In terms of its current strengths, it has choices, or the Seven of Cups, which indicates that its ability to kind of give us the cards that it wants and has that choice. In terms of its current limitations, you have the Nine of Discs, culmination. It's supposed to be kind of, in the guidebook, it is recognizing when we're almost to the end of the suit. We've almost reached that completion stage. So with the Nine of Discs or Nine of Pentacles, this culmination in terms of its limitations, somehow it seems to be incomplete. That's interesting. In terms of what this deck can teach, we have vision, or Three of Wands. That's pretty good. Maybe I'm not creative enough. That's probably what I've been somewhat critical about the imagery not really matching up with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith definition of the cards, or the imagery of the cards. So perhaps it's pointing out that it doesn't like to be, in competition with the traditional deck, and maybe I need more vision in using these cards. But overall, in terms of the types of reading this deck would work best with, you have the Lovers card, because it is all about partnership, unity, which is really interesting because of the reading it's given me so far. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get clarifiers on this deck. I want to understand a little bit more in terms of the essence of this deck, being the Five of Swords, or defeat. What clarifier? We have the Six of Swords, which is transition. So in terms of its essence, the Five of Swords clarified by the Six of Swords, I'm getting that it's generally it's not going to win in terms of my comparison of it with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but this is a transition in the sense of leaving that kind of traditional sense behind. That's kind of what I'm getting. Oh, I was going to clarify the choices, and we have the Eight of Swords, which is the isolation card here. And that's the card that I spent so much time critiquing, that the word isolation might not be the best choice. There's the Seven of Cups for choices. The best choice of words to be associated with the Eight of Swords. So that's its current strength, is its ability to have a choice. Noted. I'm getting schooled here, I guess. So Nine of Discs, with culmination being its current limitations. I'll get a clarification of that. We have the Ten of Discs, establishment. All right, so it taught me another lesson. I guess it is going to be complete, and because I pretty much pulled that card, it is complete. So yeah, it is I think it's being a little snooty with me, which is fine. That's fine. All right, with 3 of Wands being vision, what it can teach, let's take a clarification of that. We have Ace of Discs, wealth. Okay, this is about a sense of not only prosperity, but creating new values of things. So, got it. I will, it'll teach me to have vision with different types of tarot cards and appreciate the value of it. Noted. All right, so this popped out to clarify the Lovers in terms of the types of readings it likes to do. And you have the 7 of Swords, deception. So, yeah, I guess it is about partnerships, romances, relationships, and deception, the secrets that we hide from each other and ourselves. That's pretty interesting. And we'll do the bottom of this clarification version of the reading. We have the Temperance card, which was another card that I just happened to talk about the difference between this deck and the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So, yeah, I need to see, this is not a competition. This is about being in your Zen place and feeling connected to your past, present, and future. So, yeah, this is a sassy little deck, and it taught me to, so far already, to have some vision and a new sense of value for things. So, I'd be interested to hear what you have been able to read from this deck and your experiences. I'm hoping that this provided some good insight, and we'll see you next time. Take care.